So we've got the partridge. I love this design. It's just so pretty. And I just think it actually, you know, you could use it not at Christmas. It's just such a really decorative illustration. So what we've done is we've got our stamp, and what we use is Versacraft. I'm not sure if we've got any on the show this time, but again, the pigment of our choice for stamping on to fabric is the Versacraft, and the reason is that it's highly pigmented, it's permanent on fabric, but you can do this spritzing technique, which I'm going to do here. So this one that I'm going to do here is how I achieved this. So I'm just going to get it in line. Okay. And stamp. Now, when you're using big stamps, you really have to pay extra care to the centre of the image so that it gets a good impression. The outsides are a little bit easier, but the inside is less so. Okay. Now, it doesn't look very much at the minute. So if we wanted to keep it like that, I could get my heat gun or a hot iron, and I could fix it and leave it, and it wouldn't budge. It would just stay as delicate line work. And I'm going to do the same again on this one, because one we're going to spritz and one we're not. So you can compare the two side by side.
Once we heat set it, it automatically becomes waterproof?
Yes, and you can launder it. Now, you can use other stamping inks. You can use solvent base, work on fabric. Quite often solvent base, you do get a slight furry line depending on what materials you use, especially if you're using silks. You can use other water-based pigments, but they are not permanent on fabric like this one is. So again, you know, you can try what you've got in your craft stash, but you might not get the results that you require. So we're now stage 1. Stage 2 is spritz bottle with some water in. Now, I haven't heat fixed that. I would need to fix it if I didn't want the pigment to spread. So what I might do is just cover it, because I do not want to get that one to get wet. And to achieve this, all I do is spritz it. Now, just the process of spritzing it intensifies the colour. So if you compare that to that,
wow.
See?
Yeah.
That to that, it automatically starts to activate the colour. Now, what I could do is I could hairdryer that off, or heat gun it off right now, and it spreads no further at all. Or I could leave it, and what will happen is it will keep spreading to this effect.
So you have got a control of how much expansion you want.
Exactly. So quite often I spritz something and I might dry it off straight away, or I might just observe it for, you know, 5 minutes, and I might spritz, or I just walk away and leave it really for the day and come back. And sometimes if I spritz it and my ink pad is a little bit dry, I might go over it again and give it a second impression so it's got a little bit more pigment. So you can see how it's beginning to spread, and obviously the more water we add, the further it's going to spread. Actually, I'm just going to dry this one off, because I don't want to spoil this piece by the water spreading and spreading this pigment, because it really needs to be in sequence for you to know actually how this works. So again, it's a bit like the painting. You haven't necessarily got, well, you have got control, but it's quite often a surprise, and I think that's part of the joy of it. Yeah. So this is now dried off and it shouldn't spread. So this is how I did this one. So on this one, my next stage is to intensify the colour, and all I've done with this one is I have added just a deeper green. So we're going to go on
and then
with a deeper green.
That's gorgeous. Now that could be a fabulous runner for Christmas, table runner.
Yes, or we've done, I don't know if you can see the chair behind, we've upholstered a child's chair.
Well, I'm extremely clumsy today, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be, I don't know, This is a
Let
little
me
bit.
just tip it up. But you can see that the process is exactly the same. So, and you can see that some are more blurred than others, some I've added more paint on than others, and that's what makes it such a lovely handmade piece, because
Beautiful.
no two are the same.
Yeah,
They're quite different.
Fabulous.
So in order to intensify, I'm going to go over the top. Now, a lot of people worry, they think, oh my golly, I'm not going to line it up. And we always use a foam feet
Acrylic block.
yeah, platform.
Yeah.
So what you do is, I find points and I line up the points, but because it's on the legs, you've got room to manoeuvre and twist it a little bit, and it's not the end of the world if it's not bang on. In fact, sometimes it can be really quite attractive if it's not straight on. And again, you want to give it a good impression.
Yeah.
Up it comes, and that defines the image.
That's gorgeous.
So the next one along, I then heat set it. So I don't want that dark green to move. I want it to stay static. I don't want to dry this one off because that's still spreading.
Yeah. And
How
you can see all the detail. We have got about 15 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Because I don't really want to rush this, because I think it's, the process is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. And I kind of say I love this image because it has got the pears there, but they are kind of almost hidden. So I think that this is again an all year round image, not just
well,
for
I think
Christmas.
so too. I mean, it's got a nod to Christmas, but we've worked with Alexandra before. Was it about a year ago, Mel? Or about a year ago, where she did some other designs for her. And we just love what she does.
And
She's very talented.
It kind of complements your own artwork because it's kind of, I would say, in the same family, but it's still different.
Yes, yeah, I know what you mean. So the next one we did was I felt it needed a bit of shading. So I could have gone in with a paintbrush and shaded it, but I didn't. I just went in here. Now this is really to illustrate that with inking up, you don't need to ink up all of it. So all I did for here is I inked up that bit, and I've left the rest. I think I might put a little bit of blue. It looks like I put a bit of blue on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit here, and I think I did here, but not on the body.
Okay. Now, if somebody is watching at home and they think, well, they don't have these ink pads.
Yes.
Could they do something similar by dabbing with the multi-surface paint with a sponge to the stamp? Yes,
you can. I mean, tomorrow we're going to actually show more painting techniques with the multi-surface. Okay. But I mean, you can try it with, other water-based stamping inks. But and it'd be fine if it's a piece that's not going to be laundered. It would be absolutely fine. But I think it's quite nice to have the option that if you want, if you had a bag and you want to you just want to be able to wash it. So I've got it there and I've got it there. And then when I spritz this time, I'm hoping it's just going to spread in the areas that I've selected. So there and there.
I see.
So I'm trying to get it looking like that's coming from behind. So you can see how it's intensifying.
Yeah.
And then this will then spread like this.
So darker tones over there.
So, I mean, again, if you wanted to stop it in its tracks, you could dry it now and it will stop, but we're going to let it go and do its own thing. Next stage, because we're getting to the paint. The pink is the multi-surface paint, you see. So the next one is adding the paint. So we finished with the inks, and now we want to get our hot pink. Again, this colour's been with us right from the beginning. It's such a good colour. And all I do is, now, with painting, quite often when we've done demonstrations before, we use lots of water and paint within it. But on this one, we want to paint neat so that when you paint it neat, it doesn't bleed. Some people get a bit anxious when pigment goes over a line. So what I'm going to do, in order to use it neat, you want to have a very damp, not very damp. It's got to be a dry brush, but it has to have had some water on it, because if not, and you put your pigment on, it doesn't flow. And it's almost like painting with glue.
Yeah.
So I put it in my water, but actually I've taken
most of it.
Yeah, and actually somebody said last time we were on in February, Kathy, why do you keep dabbing your brush? I always have a tissue in my hand and I keep dabbing. And they said, why are you dabbing? And I said, it's because I put it in, I take the moisture off before I go and pick my paint up. Because if I don't, this pink is going to spread. So in order to put in my neat colour, and if you think, oh my golly, I've got my brush, it is too wet, I've got too much water, and you start to see it seep, immediately blot and take the moisture up. So that's one way of doing it, but actually I want this to be quite intense, so I'm going to lay the paint on fairly thickly. And we've done colour in the hair. Oh, it's so nice to be back.
Oh, it's so nice to have you back. And what my producer just said, and I completely agree. It's so nice to to see you in demonstrations, because it's like an art lesson and a step by step. So we learn so much every single time. So we are thrilled to have you back.
Well, thank you.
In the studio.
Now, I just want to talk actually about shading, because you might think, well, I've added water here to make it fade away. Like I said, I'm trying to make this that everything's used neatly. So if you're a beginner, you've got more control over your pigment. So I've put it on relatively thickly, and then to get it to fade, might take some of the pigment off. So I've got some pigment on my brush, but not a lot. You then sort of stroke the fabric with your brush, and it kind of sort of drags paint over, and that's how you can get it to fade. Yeah. And so we can come in from the other side with a bit of paint, take the paint off, and then drag. I always say it's a bit like just kissing the fabric, so you're just sort of dusting it over the top.
Yeah. Look at that. And I love how you can't really control it. If you want to control or more, you have got that option of applying a little bit of heat, and once that you are happy with the spreading. So
quite thick, and then not much pigment on my brush, and then just kissing or dusting the surface, or you can use your finger just to spread, and that sort of softens. So that's another way of doing shading.
That's gorgeous.
And we'll build up.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful colour that is on the multi-surface paint.
Yes.
Which is...
So this is the hot pink.
The hot pink.
And this, once it's heat pressed with an iron, it's permanent on fabric, but it works brilliantly on papers, board, wood, MDF. Literally, I don't have any other pigments. This is what we have, and I use it on everything.
Can you mix them together to create a brand new colour?
Yeah, of course you can. You can mix them on a palette like you would any other colour, or like we have done with the demonstration earlier. Let them blend themselves. I mean, I think Mel's going to think it's really curious that I've used red and blue, because I'm not quite sure. Well, we'll get purples, I think.
Yes. Well, they will go very well with the papers, because those ones are kind of purples and pinks and blues, and so they could work really well.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do all of it, because I don't want to run out of time. I want to get to the end one in this hour. Okay. So how much time have I got?
6 minutes.
Oh gosh, right, I'm going to leave that one then. So that's how we would add the pink. And like I say, to set it, you either use a hot iron or a heat tool. Okay. And then that's permanent again. That can then be laundered. Okay. And then, I don't know if I've got my white, Mel, my white paint.
Oh, white paint. One in the box. Oh, here.
Oh, right. Is it white, or is it? Oh, we have got white. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Shall I go and fetch it?
Yes, please.
Yes.
There should be one just in there.
I'll go.
It's like an opaque white.
Sparkle.
Yeah, is it that one?
Yeah.
Lovely.
So I'll leave it
Thank you. I did bring one, but I'm not quite sure what I've done with it. Okay. And then the white, so which one have I just, oh, I've just done that one. So this is my next stage, is white. Yeah. And white is the one colour I couldn't go anywhere without, because this is where we start putting the highlights on, and it just lifts the design. So again, neatly, and you can just put it on neat and leave it, or you can do this like kissing, stroking technique where you're sort of smudging it, and that's, I mean, we're getting pale pink, and all I've done is put on white.
It's really opaque, this
It
white.
is, it's lovely. Use it on everything.
You almost can use it as a gesso as well for other projects.
Yes, yeah, we use it as a gesso on MDFs. When I'm doing dots on paper crafts, you know, sometimes a gel pen, I don't think always gives a very good dot, whereas actually this on a brush does. So I use it for that quite a bit.
And I love how it makes it, like you were saying, three-dimensional by adding the white rather than the shade. Yeah.
You know, you could mix this and make the pink up on your palette, or actually I'm making a pale pink just by going over the top. I mean, this pink's already dry, but just by stroking it out, look, you're getting a really lovely pale pink. Yeah, and again, if it's too much, or you think you've put too much on, dab it off, and you know, you can always take it off and then keep building it up again.
Love it.
How long have
we have got about 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
The
Okay. So what I would do is I would just carry on building up the white. Yeah. The next stage is the sparkle, and in the bundles, each one has a sparkle to it, and it really is sparkly. I think I used the silver on this one. This is just fabulous. Yeah. The binder, it looks like it's just a grey, but it's not. That's the colour of the binder. All you get with this actually is just the glitter that sits on the top. And my top tip also with the glitter is not to use it too thickly. If you use it really thick, it's so thick it kind of distorts the colour underneath. And actually, we want to keep we want to see the colour. We just want to accentuate it. So you will literally just mix it with some water, fairly dilute, paint it on, and as the binder dries clear, you're just left with this sparkle. And again, heat set it with an iron, and you can launder it. I mean, I've put it on jeans, put it on, it's fabulous if you stencil it through onto felt, and yeah, it's fab.
Now, it's funny because from here, I'm 2 meters away from you, and from the side, I see the one that has dried, completely glittering and glistening under the lights. It's absolutely stunning.